The mindset of success. Let's look at expectations. Expectations is where I start when people ask me, Chad, what is at the source of a successful mindset as a leader? I start with expectations. Remember, this is about the inner game of leadership. This is about being a self-led individual. So I invite you to really look for yourself internally. Look at your real life, your real leadership, and the way that you perceive the world as a leader. And look to see how expectations play a significant role or perhaps no role currently in the way you view yourself as a leader. So let me say a little bit more about what I mean by expectations. Expectations fundamentally is a way that I expect, I anticipate, or I demand that the future will be. So there's a stand in the world of an expectation. I expect something to happen the way I see it happening. And great leaders have this common trait. They have a mindset that what I expect happens. So I'll give you an example of expectations. As a leader over time, one of the things I expect is that the teams I lead will operate with alignment. I expect that we will operate with a high degree of harmony on the team so that we can get the business done that we're paid and charged with getting done. I expect that we will deliver outstanding customer service in whatever we're delivering each and every time out. All right? I expect from myself that my leadership will grow inside of the demand that the business has on me. So I expect that I will go through whatever learning curve I need to go through to reach the other side of effectiveness to ensure that I rise to the challenge that the business or the team or the market presents itself as. I expect that of myself. I expect that life won't always go as planned. I expect that there will be breakdowns and there will be failures along the way. I expect that I will move through those failures and breakdowns with power and with effectiveness. Those are some examples of expectations that I have of myself and that I have of my team. But I want you to know that the expectations really start from your inside out. First, ask yourself, what is it that I expect of myself? What are the standards that you set for yourself? What are the values that you set for yourself? What are the codes of conduct that are acceptable for you or not acceptable for you? Are you clear on what those standards, codes of conduct, and values are? Those are the kind of conversations with yourself that set your expectations. Now, as a leader, when I walk in the room, what walks in with me are those expectations. I want to distinguish this from being positional. I'm not looking for fights to prove my point of view around these expectations, but they do bring to me a certain rigor and a certain way to interact with the conversations I'm in. You see, earlier today I was in a meeting, and part of the discussion around the meeting was around customer service. And part of the breakdown in customer service is, with this team that I work on, we were not delivering what we promised to the customers. Now, I want you to know, because of the expectation I have of myself, and therefore I can have it of others, that we will deliver every time out. That was a breakdown. That was a failure against what I expect our group to provide. Get the point? So now, who do I get to be in the meeting? Well, I'm definitely somebody who has a clear standard that we need to treat that with urgency, that we cannot make excuses for that we cannot justify it away, that we cannot forget about it or just treat it as a one-off. We must stop, we must look, we must ask the right questions, and we must resolve that both for the current customer and for any more that may happen to in the future. That's critical to our business. Now, why is that there? In that meeting, I said what I said appropriately with the group I was with to make sure we looked at that situation and we in fact did put in the actions and had a conversation not to just step over it, called the breakdown in customer service. We dealt with it powerfully, completely, and thoroughly. But I want to share that as one example. You look for yourself. You know, if I didn't have that as a clear expectation for myself as a leader, as a mindset that I come from, that I expect the best, I expect the customer service to be there every time. If I didn't already have that set for myself, it would not register for me in that conversation to perhaps take a stand or to interrupt the conversation in the right kind of way to move forward in customer service. I hope this is communicating. You need to find the areas of your leadership which are non-negotiable for you. It means you will not back down from them. You will not be swayed from them when times get tough. You will not give in to the loudest voice in the room. You'll stand for something bigger than the circumstances of the day in your leadership expression because your mind is set. It means you have the view of life that we have a say in what you expect. And you always have a say in what you expect. Okay, that's your privilege as a leader. And the leaders that you admire, the great leaders on the planet, had big expectations, didn't they? Now, I'm not going to use a lot of examples, but Gandhi comes to mind. He had an expectation that India would be free, and he stood for that expectation long enough and over time until his expectation became a reality. Yes? So expectations have the power to bend reality. Expectations have the power to galvanize the power of teams to fulfill something that was not going to happen anyway. Expectations are at the heart of having the power of leadership come into full effect. There'll be lots of times for you to question yourself as a leader. You want to make sure that you have the strength to pull through those times of self-doubt and true yourself up to that which you expect. So look for yourself. What are some expectations you currently have that you can clearly see? You know, you will take a stand for. You will fight for. You will find a way to be successful with because you know it's an expectation that you have of yourself. Look for yourself. What are some of those expectations? Now, you'll either see some right away or you may say, I don't really see any. Well, that's what I invite you out of this conversation to take on. I invite you to look and really say, what is it that I expect? What is it that I stand for? What is it that I care deeply about that I will not sell out for an easy excuse? What is it that I'm willing to, die on the hill for, so to speak? This is what makes up great leadership. This is what gives leaders a backbone and a place to come from when things go wrong. You need to know what you expect of yourself so you can expect it of others. The dichotomy is when I can expect it of myself, I then can expect it of others, and it's an authentic expectation. Do you see, if I hold myself to the highest level of integrity, as an example, if I expect integrity in my life, if I accept to operate consistent with my word in life, then I can hold others accountable to be their word in life. You can never hold somebody else accountable for that which you're not willing to be accountable for yourself. That is the truth as a leader. Expectations are the key to this kingdom. So look for yourself. What are your expectations? What are your standards? What are your values? What is it that you authentically care about, that you stand for? What is it that you are most passionate about expressing and that you will hold yourself accountable to being even in the face of great adversity? And you hold yourself accountable to not being a perfect human being with, because you will have failures against that. One of my expectations is excellence. that there'll be excellence in the company, there'll be excellence in our products, there'll be excellence in our communication, there'll be excellence in my presentation, there'll be excellence in the way I show up for things. Now, am I always perfect? Of course not. But that's the value of having expectations, is that I can see when I'm falling short and immediately or close to immediately correct myself and true myself back up to that which I expect. All right, and that is what the 1% of leaders do that the 99% don't. They're clear about their expectations and they honor their expectations. So take a look for yourself. Do you have clear expectations? Do you have clear expectations in how you show up as a leader? Do you have clear expectations either as standards or values or what you're passionate about ensuring that people are always left with around you? What is it that you expect of yourself? What is it in turn then you can expect of others? But remember, the inner game first. If you're not walking the talk with what you expect, you have no power in holding other people accountable for showing up that way. So take a look for yourself. What are your expectations? Can you list the 4 or 5 or 6 expectations that are absolutely values for you as a leader, standards for you as a leader, passions for you as a leader, the way in which you will never sell out or step over or pull back from when the going gets tough? What are those expectations that will form your success mindset that the top 1% of the leaders on the planet actually care about? That means it's not a judgment of what you choose. It's that you've chosen and that you honor those expectations over time. That is what shapes your mindset. That is what shapes the way that you perceive situations. And it's what will cause an immediate shift in your capacity and quality of leadership. Go take a look. What are your expectations?